What's up, everybody? People again, and today's TMM is going to be another sort of discussion, or rather just kind of putting info out there. It's not more or less going to be a tutorial again, because, TMM isn't all about tutorials. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not all about tutorials. It's not all about how to do something. It's about understanding an idea about something that has to do with traditionals. So today is actually going to be about this. And you might ask, what is all that? What are those 4 different strings? Why are there 4 different ones? Why can't you just do one? And the reason is, today's video is going to be about cordage, or rather the different types of string that you would use for a traditional, and pretty much what you would use those different types of strings more or less for. So if you're watching this video, you at least know that there is your gut, or rather your crosslace, and then you have your sidewall. Those are the 2 most generally known types of cordage for string and lacrosse stick. And so these 2 right here, this one right here is your sidewall. This is actually Gimalax sidewall from a spool. So nice big old spool of Gimalax sidewall. And as you can see, the type of weave that it has is very tight but still broad, so that it has a high abrasion. So keep that in mind. So it has a decent abrasion so that it is able to lock on to itself and or other strings a little bit easier. And the other one that's also Gimalax from a spool that I need the refill on is crosslace. As you can see, the weaving is a lot tighter, a lot smaller. So that means that it is able to create its shape a little bit more finely, or more specifically, with its knots and twists and everything like that. Makes it a little bit easier to contour around the ball and so on and so forth. So remember that fact too. And then for these other 2 chords are 2 other ones that are sometimes used for traditionals. And this other one right here, as you can see with a slightly different weave, is actually Barrier Lacrosse's top heavy string nylon. So it's usually used for top strings to attach either your mesh or your traditional to the top of the head. It's a little bit thicker, it lasts longer, and it doesn't really have an abrasion to it, but it does lock on well to itself, a lot like the sidewall does. And it's a lot thicker. It's about twice as thick as your average sidewall, so it's going to last longer. It's going to take a beating. And then this last one is something that I came to acquire while I was in the military, or at least active duty Army, and this is paracord, or rather 550 cord if you know the terminology and whatnot from the military. So this is paracord, and it's very similar to your top string, but it is very, very malleable. It bends and everything a whole lot easier than top string does, but it's very strong. Like 550 cord is more or less what holds your parachutes together. So the strings and everything that are attached to the parachutist or airborne or anybody like that, force recon, all those guys that use the parachutes, this is 550 cord. This is what they use to hold their body to that parachute so they don't die. But so this stuff is very, very strong. It does fray rather easily, but it is very malleable, very easy to maintain and move around. But so whenever you think of a traditional, you think of your crosslace, and your crosslace is going to be more or less the smallest type of string that you would use for stringing a traditional pocket. With this, it is very small and very malleable, but it has its flaws in the fact that because of how small it is, it's not the strongest type of string that you could possibly use for a traditional, but it is the most widely used because it is the easiest to use. And I like it personally, like in my traditional here, that with the way Gimalax is able to do it is, or so far that I've seen Gimalax do, is that they can do all these crazy designs and everything, but you can see that from a lot of different people out there company-wise. But so far I've been using Gimalax the most out of pretty much everybody, but it is it's strong to a point to where it's able to last you quite a while. I've seen crosslace with a well-maintained pocket last a few years and then fail just because it's old. It's fabric, it's yarn, it's gonna rot if you don't take care of it. So your crosslace is your pretty much one of your more valuable strings. Don't waste it. Make sure you if you're gonna cut it to the length that you need it, and then only a little bit extra, because you never know if you need extra. And then your sidewall, obviously your sidewall is used for your mesh pockets. It's used for, a lot of people like to use it for substituting for crosslace sometimes, just because it's a little stronger. It makes the pocket a little bit stiffer because of the fact that it's a little bit bigger, slightly bigger by like a millimeter, in some cases, maybe 2 millimeters in other cases, than crosslace. So it's a little bit stronger, a little bit stiffer, and obviously it has the abrasion because of the weave, and so that allows a little bit more hold, just because it's rubbing against the rubber of the ball, causes that much more hold, which also kind of changes the feel of the pocket overall. So if you don't want to use crosslace, sidewall is a good substitute, but it doesn't really go the other way around. So sidewall doesn't really crosslace doesn't really substitute a sidewall, for the simple fact that it's gonna wear out faster because of abrasive forces that your sidewall goes through. So like in here, this is gonna get hit by the ball a lot on the inside of the pocket. So it's going to get abrasion, it's going to get a lot of abuse, and it's going to fray. And then the thing with crosslace is it's going to fray a lot faster. So you don't want to use that for sidewall. Sidewall is the most widely used mesh, traditional, whatever. Very strong, very widely used, and so on and so forth. Can use it for a traditional pocket. I tend to use it just for like your side sections sometimes when I'm doing like a symmetrical pocket. I sometimes use it out here. I rarely use it in the middle, just because I want the middle to be as soft as possible to really conform to the ball and pretty much perform how I want it to. After that, very rarely have I seen or even done a pocket with top string as the actual body of the pocket. I like to use it as sidewall, as you can see here on my Jewel Across Aries. I like to use top string as my sidewalls because it's some of the thickest string out there. It's not going to fray. There's less maintenance because of it, and all in all, with a traditional, you don't need to do the complicated knots or anything. So you're able to do simple knots and then just leave it. It's not going to be bothered. Nothing's really going to happen to it for a long time. But for the body of a pocket, if you're going to use this big of a cord or bigger, you really want to make sure that you use bigger diamonds. I've seen guys try and use smaller diamonds and whatnot, and then the strings bunch up and then it just kind of falls apart. Make sure you make the diamonds adequately larger to accommodate the bigger cord. Also, if you're going to use leathers, I would suggest using the water resistant style of leathers. So like once I'm able to start selling them, your P5 leathers, your throne leathers, your beaver leathers, your ninja lax leathers, and I think Zombie Mesh is trying to make leathers now. Other than that, there's off the top of my head, there's no real treated leathers out there other than us that I've already mentioned. But so if you're gonna use your heavier cord, make sure you use stronger leathers. And so it's gonna that sort of cord is gonna make the pocket a lot stiffer. You're not gonna be able to have a very super shifty pocket as much as you would with a sidewall or crosslace. Moving into the slightly stronger tensile 550 cord or paracord, this stuff does not stretch at all, so there's no give at all. I like to kind of compare it to Stringer Shack's flat crosslace that they have, because whatever side that you're going to fillet on, it kind of flattens out, but it also kind of bunches up if you're not careful. So it flattens out and bunches up. But if you can conform this to how you want it, I honestly feel that paracord will more than likely make a much better substitute for crosslace than almost any other string. And it's stronger, it's a lot softer, it's pretty much just as soft as crosslace, if not softer. So if you really want a shifty pocket, your paracord is going to be right up your alley. But it has the same sort of properties as your top string or thick nylon cords. And so you want to have a little bit bigger diamonds. So like your 5 and 6 diamond sort of classics, your bigger diamond pitas, all that stuff. You want to accommodate the bigger cord with bigger diamonds, because there's more surface area because of the bigger cord, so therefore you're gonna be able to cover less space on your leathers with that bigger diamonds, and so just more contact area and so on and so forth on the ball. But out of these 4 cords, you pretty much have a very decent selection. There's a couple other different types of cords out there and whatnot that you can use. And I believe Jimalax still makes Kevlar string, but you have to be careful with that. I'll probably do a video about that later on. But when you're picking what you're going to use, take your time. With anything traditional, take your time, guys. I say it all the time. I say it way too much. Well, you know what? I say it enough. Every time if I say it enough. You need to take your time, pick your materials. Don't just rush, say that this is all best. I pick and choose different pieces from different companies because I feel that different pieces do the job differently for what I need it to. So that's why I use different company stuff for different things. So pick your materials. Take your time prepping the materials. Take your time prepping the pocket. Take your time prepping everything. And then take your time stringing it. If it takes you a week to string your pocket perfectly the way that you want it to contemplate different knots, take your time, do it. That's fine. And when you're stringing any of these types of cords, again, take your time, make sure it's not doing that, because if it's doing that, it's not going to do any good for you. It's going to create certain tension, and then that little twist right there is eventually going to pop. So when you're stringing, make sure your string is nice and straight and malleable. No crazy little tensions, knots like that. So that's this week's TMM. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit something as far as cordage goes, because there's a lot of stuff out there that people don't know, and I'm trying to put it all out there. And I just have, again, take my own advice and take my time and get you guys the information that you need. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope this helped you out, and I feel that it helped me out to be able to help you. So hopefully I can keep producing these videos and put the information out to you. I do have a lot of material to keep going over, but like I've said before, I'm probably going to jump around here and there just so I can get the right information out to you in a timely manner when you need it. And the thing is, I'm not going to be able to get everything out as fast as possible, especially since I'm trying to keep it organized to where it's only once a week, so that you guys can incorporate each thing each week, so on and so forth, blah, 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 shut up, Phil, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you later. This is Peepo signing off.